In this video we are creating our first program to make the robot turn around in circles. Open the CSBot platform and click on the primary individual team platform. That will load this screen with the control panel on the left and the fields behind. We want to click on the competition tab here and then select the AI Artificial Intelligence button that will allow us to program the robot. That brings up this panel here. First thing we want to do is save a project. So this is going to be a project, let's call this first project. Okay. So now we want to look at how to program. The first thing we want to do is to add a statement. Statements are used to program this in this environment. So you want to right click here, add a new statement within a bundle. And let's call this turn. We now need to understand how the programming environment works. The programming we are using is event-driven programming. This means that the flow of the program is determined by events. So each statement, like the statement we have just created in the program, has three things associated with it. A priority, set by the order of the statement in the statement tree, a condition, and also an action. So how do we set these three things? So this is the development panel we have just seen. So we set the priority on this left-hand side in this area where we add statements. We can then change the order of the statements to change their priority, with the highest statement having the highest priority. We set the condition in this panel here, using these minimum and maximum values. For example, if we wanted the condition to be such that when the front ultrasound is between 0 and 20 centimeters, we would set the minimum value to 0, the maximum value to 20, and this condition would then be true when the ultrasound front sensor is within 0 and 20 centimeters. When the condition is true, the action will then execute. An action has a duration associated with it, and also you can set other things. We can set the two-wheel speeds and directions by setting a value between -5 and 5, and we can also set the LED function, whether it flashes or it is on. And we can also specify key actions such as teleport or find a position area. So how does the program run? The program starts with working down the statements until it finds a statement where the condition is true. When that condition is true, it then runs that action, and once it's finished the action, it checks the condition. And if that condition is still true, it will carry on running the action until the condition is no longer true. The program then repeats forever, so it starts back at the top and works down the statements until it finds a condition that is then true and runs that action while that condition is still true. And it repeats that, running forever until the end of the program. So we can write that using this pseudocode. So we start with the highest priority statement and say, is this condition true? If it is, we run this action until it is no longer true. Then we repeat back to the top and work down. So let's say condition 1 is not true, so we'd work down to condition 2, which may be true. Then we'd run this action until it's no longer true. And then we'd start again and repeat back at the top. We can have as many conditions and statements as we like. And at the bottom, we'll have a condition which is kind of considered the default action. What happens if nothing else is true? So it'll probably be a condition that has it'll be a conditionless statement. And also it'll probably be a small action, for example, just go forwards forever. So now let's turn to writing our first program. So for our statement turn, the priority is set, so it's the highest priority statement, and it's also the only statement. We want the condition to be such that it is true whenever, so we can leave this such that it is true for any value of sensor reading. It's the action we now need to change. We want to set it so one wheel is going maximum speed one way, so we can set that to -5. And the other wheel is going maximum speed in the other way, so let's set that to 5. We can set the duration to the smallest time possible, because it will then check the condition every time it has executed this action for 60 milliseconds. So, we've now written our first program. Now, we need to save, using the save button. Then we also need to build and compile. This converts the code that we have just written in this program into a .dll file which we can load to the robot. So every time, I'll just show that again, click on the build. Every time it builds successfully, you get this dialog box here. So we then can click OK. We then want to exit this window and use this panel here. We now need to load the program into our robot. So we're going to click here, we're going to load it into the blue robot. So on this Load AI button here, we're going to click on the blue one. We then need to find our program, my first project, and this is the DLL file that we created when we compiled and built the program. Select that and click on the green tick. Okay, so we can now see what our program does by pressing the start button. Okay, so we've now programmed the blue robot to turn around. Have a go with this and see if you can program your robot to turn one way, then try turning it the other way.